Hi there, it's Erin from EB Mixed Media, and today I'm going to be making daylilies. This is the Fabulous Florals Daylily stamp from my collection at Joggles. It is, as of this filming, one of the few remaining stamps in stock. The rest have either sold out or mostly sold out, but this one's still available for now, and the rest are on order and will be back in stock again soon. So I wanted to share with you this technique for making florals. I haven't shown this one yet. You can certainly use it with any other stamp you might have. It doesn't have to be the Fabulous Florals collection. So let's get started. I've got some book pages here that I'm going to be working with. You can use any kind of paper for this. It's just the text on the book pages is nice to have in your background. So that's why I'm going to work with these. Working with these magicals, these are Lindsay's Magicals. lindsysgang.com can be kind of messy. So what I like to do is use a box. I use this for all of my sprays, anything that's going to be a little bit messy, and it just kind of contains the mess here. So let's take 2 of these book pages for now, and let's start with this one, and this is Autumn Maple. This set of Magicals is sort of a fall set that I bought. I thought the colors were just really pretty. They make these now with shakers tops as well, which is much more convenient because I used to try and pour them out and it is a mess, but somebody tipped me off to use a fan brush. And I'm just gonna shake that around on the page a bit. You don't need a lot. Maybe just a little bit more here. And you can always add more if you don't feel like you have enough. And then I'm going to add some of this. This is Pearl X and it's sparkle gold. I'm just going to add a little more gold for some shimmer. Can't even tell if that's going on there or not. You can maybe see better than I on the camera. Like I said, we can always add a bit more. Oh, I almost dropped the whole jar. Jeez. Okay. And then we take our spray bottle and we simply squirt. And you can see how it's starting to react. And you can tip your paper. The gold isn't really spreading, but it's just leaving a really pretty shimmer there. I'm gonna grab a little more to put in this corner up here. It feels like it was missed. Not seeing as much on this page either. That splatter effect is really cool, and that is how we got this one. And this was just on plain paper. Okay. So let's see. Let's sort of, oops. Oh well, that'll work. That's fine. Don't do that. You can tip it so that they run. All right, let's set those aside. And I'm gonna make sure my fan brush is clean. So this is a little damp where I'm setting it down. I think that's okay. And this one is called Ponderosa Pines Olive. And I'm going to add to that just a tiny bit of cattail copper brown. let's see what we get with that. And different paper with its different porousness is gonna react differently. So you can see how this is so absorbent. It just sucked it right up really quickly. Whereas this one, it's kind of sitting on top of the page. Let's really douse that one and see what we get. I'm trying to get some over into that section there. The other thing you can do is take your paper towel then and clean up some of that excess if you feel like it's too much. I feel like this one looks a little sad, but I'm gonna leave it because it's nice to have a lighter background. Let's dry those. So here's our dried papers. They're really shimmery and shiny. This one is pretty light. This one's a little darker. Okay. And I think I'll start with this one. I just wanted to show you a couple options. You can decorate these, you can use these completely as is, or you can add to them. And so I'm gonna go ahead and just on this bottom part where it's a little light, I'm gonna add a little more something something, and I'm gonna start with a stamp, and I'm gonna use this stamp here from the collection. I think it's a really funky, cool stamp. And I'm just gonna, I've got, this is archival ink in Cactus Flower from Ranger. And I'm just gonna do, say, the bottom half here. And this is kind of a tone on tone look, but it just gives some interest to the background. What's fun about this stamp is you can turn it multiple ways and get a really interesting pattern. By turning it just so. You can probably leave it there. So that gives you an idea of just adding some more dimension to your papers. For these, I'm gonna do a little something more with these. With this one, I'm gonna add one of my most favorite colors, which my understanding is it's no longer being sold. This is Nickel Azo Gold, quinacridone Nickel Azo Gold from Golden, and it's a high flow acrylic. And I love this color. And what I'm gonna do is just add some splotches of this here and there. I've got a paper towel handy. I probably should have done this while I still had my box, but we're spraying it again and watching it move across the page. And we can dip our paper towel and move it around that way as well. And don't panic if you think this looks horrible. It might not look like much now, but trust the process, okay? All right, let me dry this. Everything's dry now. I have a selection of stencils here. I've got some craft paints. I have a makeup sponge, and I have some used palette paper here that I'm gonna keep filling up because I like to use my palette paper in future projects. So I'm gonna keep mucking this up to see what happens with it that I might be able to use elsewhere later. And I'm gonna just start, I think, with this sort of leafy stencil. And I'm gonna do that in this King's Gold. And then I'm gonna choose some other ones and do it. And I'll probably speed up the video so you're not just watching me stencil ad nauseum. This is a Tuscan teal, and this is a metallic called Champagne. So I'm gonna put some music on and just start stenciling. I I finished stenciling. I've got one more stencil, but I'm going to put it on a little bit differently. I'm going to use a Posca pen instead. I love this sort of lattice stencil. I don't recall where I got it, but I sort of think it was Walmart. And on this one, this stencil, I love to just outline. So it just looks like a faint lattice in the background. So you can use stencils with your Posca pens. It doesn't always have to be with paint. You can use stencils with your Distress Oxide inks. You can use sprays with stencils. And I'm not going to do the whole piece. I'm just going to put some little bling here and there. So you get the picture. And then I'd like to finish it off. I'm going to do that on all of these. And then I want to finish it off with some splatters. And I've got just a regular brush here. My fan brush has gone missing in action. I've got some white gesso, a little bit of water, and I'm going to add some splatters. There we go. I'll finish these up and then come back and we'll move on to the next step. Here's our finished pages, and now it's time to stamp. And I want to show you kind of a cool trick with these stamps that will help you for your placement. You can take the stamp off and you have this cool black outline on the piece of plastic, and that allows you to sort of play with your positioning and really see clearly where you want to place your stamps. So you might find that helpful in picking out sort of the best look for your stamps. Just a thought there. All right, I've got my lily on my stamp block, and I'm just going to start stamping these. And we'll do a little bit of everything here. This is the one where we put the pattern in. All right, and then over here, again, there's a lot of dark there, but I'm liking how light this is here. So I'm thinking if I can somehow capture okay, let's keep going. Once you have everything stamped, it's time to cut out. Normally when I cut out these florals, I do leave a border. In this case, I want to cut them right along the black line. As close to it as I can get. But leaving black lines showing. If you veer off, you can always add the black line back in later. I've cut out all my lilies and they look really great. And I wanted to share with you these two here that are a little more orange and pink. And it occurred to me, some of you might not have Lindy's Magicals or have a lot of supplies or have a lot of stencils, or maybe you just don't have a lot of time. I totally get that. And I wanted to refer you to a free printable that I have on my Teachable account. It's this one here. I posted it last fall using this same technique. The base of this isn't Lindy's Magicals, but it's the same concept. And so I thought this might be something you might like to use in doing this. It'll save you a lot of time, or you can do it in addition to these other ones. But I simply printed this out and did my stamping and cut those out. So I will link to this in the description box. and you're welcome to use it. Now I've got a piece, a very large, good size piece of mixed media paper. You could use cardstock, you could use drawing paper, any kind of paper. And there are a couple options with how you use these. If you wanted to, you can just keep the tops and keep them handy. And then when you go to use them somewhere, you glue the top down and then you stamp in the stems and the leaves and use them that way. You could just use the top and draw in your stems and leaves. Or if you want to make a completed floral like this, I'll show you how to do that. So I've got this piece of paper here and I'm going to glue these down, and I can get a fair number of these on one piece of paper simply by putting them out like so and then putting them down at the bottom going the opposite direction. I should be able to get all eight or so of these on here. Okay, so I'll show you how to do a few of those. I need a glue stick. I just use a Yoo-hoo glue stick. And I'll start gluing. When you're gluing, think about turning these in different directions so that they're all unique. And these book pages can be super, super fragile. And I ripped this one, but I think I can piece it back together. And I don't think it will show. We'll see. But I don't want to lose it. This is where a good set of tweezers comes in handy. We're going to make this work. We are not going to lose this lily. All right. I've got my black archival ink here and the rest of my stamp, my acrylic block. And I'll stamp the stems. And you'll notice I was a little short of the mark on a few of these. Not to worry, we can just draw that in. And even here, I didn't get my stamp quite inked enough, but we can draw that in as well. And then we'll add the leaves. Maybe we'll do 2 on this one, just by turning this upside down. We can do the same on this one. Or maybe we want to add it in a little bit different place. Now, guess what? We have to cut them out again. I'll be back. My lilies are all cut out, and now I just want to take a closer look at them and see if there isn't any touching up that I might want to do. It is tricky cutting these out, and I left a white border around the edges because I think that makes them pop. This one, you know, it's so dark, it's a little hard to see. I went over some of the lines with a felt tip pen. This is a Papermate Flare. I also like to use my Sakura Jelly Roll pen in black or white. But this, I think, just to maybe make these, I think they're called Stamen Pop. I need to look that up because I keep not knowing what the word is. I'm going to do those in white. I think that might help a little bit. And once that dries, I might go back in and circle those in black. This one I think is fine. This one was my sample that I showed you at the beginning. This is from my printable, and I think it looks pretty good. If you want to jazz it up a little bit, you could do these in gold for a little extra oomph. This one again, super dark, kind of hard to see the lines. One option might be to highlight it in white, maybe. And I think I will go over this again in the white so they pop against that dark background. Oh, there's one more there. I think this one looks really good. This is a little plain, but I think it's really pretty and simple. I might put some gold on that one too, just to tie in with the shimmer from the Magicals. I like that one. This one I think could use some black to oomph it up a little. Oh, I always miss this one down here. There we go. I think that looks pretty good. Something else you could consider doing is outlining some of the elements that are on the floral. So for example, these black marks, you could outline. You could also outline in gold these marks. And that might be something you want to do before you start cutting them up, or it might just be something that comes to you as you're looking at them, but that just can add so much, all these little details. And you don't have to be really careful with it, but that gold sort of adds a nice little touch there. If there's areas where you feel your stamp is lacking, you can go back over it. I wonder what yellow would look like on one of these. Do I like that? Not really, but it's worth a try. This could potentially benefit from some outlining because it is dark. So I'm outlining these dark blue areas. And again, if you did this before you stamped, that might be smarter, because then you're not going over the black lines that you stamped onto the page. There you go. Let's take a quick look. That's pretty with the white, it pops. These simple ones are really nice. And that's it for me today. I hope you enjoyed that and it gave you some inspiration. This is a technique that could be used with any stamps that you have or any florals. I'll be back again soon with some more videos. Again, these daylilies, I believe, are still available at joggles.com, and the rest of the stamps are on reorder and will be back in stock shortly. You can actually sign up there for an email alert when those do come back, become available once again. All right, everyone, I'll see you again later, and you can always find me on Instagram, EB Mixed Media. That's EB_Mixed Media. Thanks so much. Bye.